Hey everyone, okay, I'm going to do a quick video. I've done videos similar to this in the past, but I'm going to expand on it a bit more because I know this is kind of like the time frame that most people tend to work for major games. League and Championship tend to fall around this time as opposed to evening and early morning games. So hey Brian, any tips for a game day diet plan for a GAA game? 2 p.m. throw-in, I struggle to eat or know what to eat pre-game. So I'm going to do this video. You can apply this to any time in the day, but normally, because most games fall around that 1, 2 or 3 p.m, I'm going to talk through my own nutritional strategy that I use, the one that's in my GAA Lean Body program. There's different versions of the program, so it's different based depending on your specific goals, but the main premise is the same. The day before a big game, I always do my glycogen load store, my carb load. So I have complex carbohydrates in all of those meals through the day, so that I'm loading with 300 or 400 grams of carbohydrates the Friday before, say, a Saturday game. So I'm keeping those loads, that glycogen stores full coming into the game on a Saturday. Anyone coming through my GAA Lean Body program has a similar protocol. The calories are different and the macros are different depending on the version of the program, but I tend to follow this glycogen load regardless of sport version of the program. It's just the macros and the foods and the timings and stuff are different, but the actual carb cycling, keeping a higher carb day the day before a game, stands true regardless of the version of the program. So I normally do that the day before, and then the day of the game I'll normally go with a complex carbohydrate and a protein source in my morning. So I'll have some form of porridge, maybe some dark chocolate through it, and some turkey in the morning, just because I tend to eat for function the day of game, so that I'm making sure that I can do everything to keep performance at its top level. So I'll have that as my first meal. Then my second meal, I'll normally have some form of sweet potato and some form of chicken, an easy digestible protein source that I digest quite well. And then before games, I'll normally have some form of caffeine, and I'll sip on branched chain amino acids as I'm warming up. That's what tends to work very well for me for a 2 p.m. game. I'll get up at 9, I'll have my meal at 9 a.m, I'll have another meal at 12 p.m, 3 hours later, and then I find my caffeine at about 1:30 before a 2 p.m. game works incredibly well. It takes me about half an hour for caffeine to hit my system, but it's going to be varied depending on each person. I'm currently using a caffeine mixed with theanine, so it slows down the rate of caffeine so you get a steadier release of energy, and I tend to take that right before the game. Up until recently, I always used green tea extract. That was always my favorite, but I'm slowly coming over to preferring caffeine before games. So it really depends on your caffeine tolerance and your preference. If fat loss was my primary goal, I'd probably still use green tea extract before games, but I'm liking the switch of caffeine. That being said, caffeine only works at its optimal level when you have your nutrition on point and you've loaded your glycogen stores so that you're using it for mental focus and not for a physical edge, because you've covered your base with glycogen and muscle glycogen stores by filling up your carb levels and filling up your carb stores the day before and the morning of the game. So that's why you get the best bang on a buck out of caffeine. If you don't have nutrition on point, caffeine's not going to give you the same hit as somebody that's got their nutrition right and then using it to move them from a 9 to a 10. You know, caffeine will move you from a 4 to a 5. It'll also move you from a 9 to a 10 if you've got your nutrition on point. So my advice would be try out something similar to that. That's kind of the layout of my GAA Lean Body program. There's variations in different versions depending on the version you're on, but that's kind of the protocol that I follow in terms of keeping glycogen level stores full, loading up my carbohydrates the day before, taking carbs and amino acids the day of, and then using my caffeine and my branched chain amino acids before a game. Some people use glucose and Lucozade Sport and something else there. That depends on your digestion and your level, and I build that in depending on the person. I find it doesn't work as well for me. I work better off branched chain amino acids, but it's going to be down to each individual person. So I hope this helps. Best of luck with your 2 p.m. games, and I hope this supports you loads going forward. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, I'll be replying to comments in the next 24 hours.